What is going on, guys? You are listening to the Tacos and Te podcast. I am Eladio J. Montoya, and last week, if you haven't already caught the first podcast where I introduced myself and I told you a little bit about my story and you want to get caught up, go ahead and jump back into that video and then come back here. But for people that have been watching and you've listened to the podcast and you've kept up with my new series, The Bare Bones, which is me every day learning something new about the business, whether it's going out and trying a taco place, a tea place, studying up the business licenses that I need, or just really keeping you guys up to date on my daily life, which is like I shot a 2 to 3 minute video of my daily life, and it's very like mundane and boring, I think, to the average person. And for me, I wanted to present it in the best way possible, you know, to give you guys some context on what I do every single day, you know, from the time I wake up, you know, go to work, to the time I get out, go to the gym, and then it's already closer to the dead of night. So I spend the rest of my night either studying, you know, like I'll go out to a taco place, just something like putting something into the business that I can learn and adapt and take with me, like find the gold nugget out there and bring it back with me so I can implement that into my business. And for a first week, I have to say it was very productive, like getting to start the series and putting out the podcast and just not just diving into social media, but also diving into like the food business more and learning what I need to do, all the business licenses that you need, the startup money, the time you need to make for it, all the planning that has to go into it. It's not something I'm like so taken aback, because I was someone who's just like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna do this in a year. Like I'm gonna save up some cash and I'm gonna put it out, which I think is very possible. I'm optimistic about that, but I think the skill set that's required for that takes a lot longer. And so it kind of humbled me a little bit more as I went into my studies, and I was like, wow, you know what, this is gonna take a little bit longer than I thought it was. But it didn't discourage me. It kind of excited me a little bit more, because I started finding like little routes, little things I could study and say like, oh, this is cool. Maybe this is an opportunity, like renting a truck or renting a space and finding out the necessary things like that. Like number one, having good credit or having a certain startup fund to make it happen. You know what, like getting, like submitting your recipes for review so those can be put out and they're safe for people to eat, which is actually that's really, really important. Having like a manager's, not a food handler's card, but it's like a manager's certificate for running your business, especially in the food business. So I was like, wow, these are so many different things that I need to have, like the zoning, the zoning areas which you can sell food. It's like all this back end stuff that I'm not going to bore you guys with, but it's stuff to me that I was like, man, like I didn't know all this. I thought it was like buy a shop, put it out there, start selling your stuff. And I was really taken aback by it with everything that you need. And I was like, you know what, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But I think this is more fun. Like in the 7 days that I haven't talked with you guys from the last podcast, everything that I've done in those 7 days has been more fun than I think like any other thing I've done for the past almost 5 years now. Where like, you know, like going to a concert or like playing video games, it was so exciting to come across something new that I would learn and say, I can take this with me. This is really cool. Like, I don't know if anybody else knows this. Like, this is really cool. This is an opportunity. This is a place for me to grow and not making excuses, like every day, not making excuses to make myself better and go same thing for the gym. Like getting into the gym every day has been one of the most toughest things for me, and staying consistent. Like before, you know, this isn't my first time losing weight. You know, I originally started at like 315 pounds, and my best friend, he put me into the gym and he took care of me for a year, you know, getting me into the gym and picking me up every day and taking me and teaching me how to eat right. He, for the first time, he took me to the gym, and it was like a whole different field for me. And I went down about 105 pounds because I ended up at 210. And I celebrated. I was like, wow, this is like, you know, this is my first time losing weight. This is crazy. This is amazing. I would have never imagined this for myself, being able to look this way and feel this way and move around and clothes fitting the way they do, because that really did excite me. And in, I'd say, like the coming 2 years of being fit, I just let myself go. I started eating whatever I wanted so I could pick up whatever weight I wanted. And I was just like trying to find better ways to lift and bigger ways. And I was doing it the complete, like I was doing it in the worst way, the most unhealthiest way to learn how to lift weight. I was doing that. I was just bulking as much as I could to try and pick up as much as I could. And the end result was me getting big again. And I kept putting it off. As the weight went up, I kept putting it off and saying, you know what, I can lose it again. I did it before, like, oh, I put on 10 pounds. That's not a big deal. I put on 20 pounds. That's not a big deal. I've done cardio. I can do it again. I can do it whenever I want. And I kept making the excuses that I could do it whenever I wanted. And then when it finally came time for me to do it again, I backed out. I was like, I'm not sure. I'm like, I don't feel good about this. I'm like, nah, I'll do it another day. It's okay. And I put it out for so long, and I made the excuses to the point where, like, one day I just looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy with the way I look. I'm not happy with the way I feel, that I'm not in the gym every day. I'm not in a place where I make myself better, which for me is a very big thing, like at a competitive level, at a way I function, where I'm like, I just want to be better all around. And the gym was a place that very much put that in my mind. Like, this is a place that makes you better every single day. And being in the gym humbles me so much, from the weight that I lift to the way that I look. I think a lot of people are so quick to see somebody lift a certain weight and they're like, oh, I can't lift that. And it discourages them from being in the gym, or look a certain way. And they're like, well, I don't look that way. I want to look like him, but I'll never look that way. And that discourages people from being in the gym. And it was something at first that discouraged me, for sure, definitely. Like, it definitely discouraged me at the beginning. But then little by little, I just, like, I stopped caring about what other people thought of me at the gym, because you grow this amazing thought that people at the gym, they don't care about you. They're trying to get theirs. They're trying to look better. They're trying to do their own thing. And everybody is there for a certain goal, for a certain reason. Maybe not everybody's there to improve themselves or look a certain way, but like, come see, come saw. It's hit or miss for certain people. But the gym culture that I learned from being there every single day was amazing. Whether it was somebody trying to help somebody else improve, weight wise, look wise, like, it was something that fully engulfed my mind, and it was a part of culture I wanted to take with me. And now whenever I go to, like, just a regular commercial gym, it's kind of saddening, because the original gym I was in was a bodybuilding gym, and now the commercial gyms that I'm in now, they kind of don't have that culture. So I think every day now I try and bring a little bit of that culture to the table, whether somebody needs a spot, somebody wants to use my clips, like something, just like helping somebody out, or putting the weight back, or cleaning up your area, like just taking the extra time in the gym to either push somebody up and say, like, hey, you can do it, I'm trying to do it. And it goes the same thing, like, the positivity you give off will rub onto other people, and they'll pass that on. And it's so amazing to learn that from the gym. And I always recommend, like, anybody go to the gym, like, just go start learning how to lift, go start learning how to be healthy, because it pours into the other parts of your life, whether it's your work life, your love life. Like, it's just something that teaches you so much in one place. And I wanted to stop making the excuses that I could do it whenever I wanted. And I was like, well, just go do it. Like, you're not proud of yourself, you let yourself go do it. And so I began working out every single day, and now I'm coming up on the first month, which I'm really happy about. My numbers are super low. My numbers are really, really low right now, and my cardio is bad. I'm huffing and puffing through every 20 minutes of stairs that I do, but it makes me happy. Like being able to lift again and improve myself. And there are down moments where, whether it's not in the gym, maybe it might be when I leave the gym, where there are moments of like, man, like, I'm not spending time with my girlfriend or my friends or something else. Like, I'm not putting my time into other things that I really like to do, but finding this as something I love to do makes it all the more easier and all the more fun, because in the sad moments I have of like, you know what, I didn't spend time doing this today, a week later I'll feel better about it because I spent that time in the gym and I feel a little bit better. I look a little bit better and I'm like, you know what, I put the work in and I'm gaining something out of this. I'm gaining a long-term result for this patience that and for this patience and this hard work that I'm putting into it. All that to say, if you're not in the gym, I think I encourage people to get into the gym. I'm a big guy, and I'm trying to go back to my lower weight self and become healthy again. And you can check that out. You can keep up with that slightly in the Bare Bones series if you want to watch that. You can. Going back to tacos and te, I've really been focusing on tacos so much, and I haven't really dove into the boba side of it because I really do feel like I have that unlocked. I developed a recipe pretty early on because I was really curious about it when I was working at boba shops, and I was like, well, I want to try making this at home, and I did, and I learned it, and I was like, you know what, I think this is a pretty good recipe. Now I have to have people try this, and I think it's worth the experience because you don't know what you got until you put it out there. And also like putting the combinations together, like the tacos and te, like I haven't put those two own recipes together and tried them out. So I think this week, like, you know, week number 2, I'm going to focus heavily on tea and then putting it together with tacos. And you guys are going to see the first recipes of both of those out this week before I go on vacation, which is a big thing. In the next 2 weeks, I should be taking a vacation. I'll be out of town, but you guys will still see the podcast. You guys will still hear it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not going to make the excuses. And I'm doing that every single day. Now, the Bare Bones series, this is crazy because I think this came out on like a whim of putting out the podcast. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a goal of putting the podcast out once a week. And I'm going to try and do the very best job that I can to, you know, make sure the quality is good, or, you know, the filming. And I got so ahead of myself this week where I was like, you know what? I feel like I can do more. I feel like I'm not doing enough. I want people to see what I do every day. I want people to see the learning process, because I feel like when I talk about it, it's not enough. It's definitely not enough. And I felt the energy there. I felt like this butterfly in my stomach where I was like, yeah, you know what, you can go do it. And I was like, all right, let's review a taco place. And I did that, and I was like, man, that was such a good video. I was super proud of that video, and more importantly, I was super proud of the fact that I made the time. Like, when I went to that taco place, I think it was about like 11:30 at night, because I get out of the gym super duper late. And I got home, and I was like, you know what? It's time to shoot this, and it's time to edit it, and it's time to put it out. And so, not just the learning experience of making tacos and tea, it's also like the no excuses thing is, for me, is like, it's sticking so much, where every day I do my best not to make excuses and make it happen. And I'm not like tooting my horn. I'm not trying to toot my own horn about it. You know, I'm probably going overboard with it. But like, this is the first time in forever where I felt so happy about making something and being excited about it in so long, where I was like, you know what? I want to put all my energy into this. You know, I don't know if I'm bad at this. I don't know if I'm good at this, but this is something worth winning or losing at. And I'm so happy about it, because the other thing before this was like Super Smash Brothers Melee, and I was like a little competitive player when I was young. But that's a story for another day. Let's can that. I'll tell you guys that story later on. But this week, making the checklist, I was like, you know, I need to build a menu. I need to ask the big questions, like, how do I build a business? What's a financial plan? What does a menu look like? You know, should I keep it original? Do I need to make X Factor tacos? Am I trying to reinvent the game, or am I trying to make my own great classics? You know, what should I be doing? What are the priorities about building my brand, building this business? And I kind of got giddy early on. You know, after I put out the podcast, I was like, you know, I'm gonna make some fucking merch. And I was like, you know what? Let's not make merch. Let's put that off for another day, because you don't even know how to make a taco yet. You don't even have the tea out. You know, prioritize. You know, put the money away. You know, save the money. Make that the priority. You know, save as much as you can, And then when the right opportunity comes along, then let's start putting the money into the right areas, because I was like, I put out the podcast. I need to get some new technology to make the podcast better. I need to get a stand. I need to get this. I'm like, no, you know what? Let's be as frugal as I can with this podcast. Let's just keep it on a mic and a laptop and figure it all out. Like, let's just put it out there. Let's learn every single day. Let's put out a series. Let's call it Bare Bones. Let's make this the back end of everything that we need to learn. Let's take notes. Let's make it into the gym every single day. Let's eat more and start learning how to actually eat healthy and implement the proper way to live your life. Let's listen to more personal development. Let's listen to more Gary Vee. Let's listen to Dave Ramsey, how to put money away, how to save money, how to build money. Let's learn about a minimalist life where, I need to find the things that I need in life versus the things that I want. And how do I portion those things out, and find a better way to increase my happiness, because I don't think the materialistic things are about my life are what make me happy. I think it's the actions that I do, the people that I'm with, and it's the growth that I have every single day and that I learn. So that's literally what I've been doing for the past 7 days, and trying to make that better and come into a better understanding when something doesn't go the way I planned it, or when something's not when something doesn't happen. I'm not trying to make excuses about it. I'm trying to say, you know what, it's my fault. I didn't make it happen. I didn't put the time in. I didn't put the money in. So I need to learn this now. Trying to get a guest on this podcast. I think that's the very next thing, is you guys are going to see a guest come onto the podcast, and maybe I'll get to interview them. They'll tell their story, and I think that's a way for me to get people to try my food more. They give a little 5-minute review of my food, and from there I'm able to take notes and make it a little bit better, and build a better friend connection with whoever I have on the show, and build relationships. I think that's really important. Aside from that, I think I've been doing Instagram like pretty well. I've been trying to post every day. Same thing on Twitter. If you guys haven't caught me on Twitter yet, go ahead over and follow. Shameless branding. I think that's kind of it for like right now. I think the note taking that I've been doing, the workouts that I've been putting time into, the Bare Bones series, you guys should definitely go check that out. You guys are going to see a lot more coming from me, and I really appreciate you guys checking out this podcast. I thank you guys for your understanding. There's no video in this one. Unfortunately, I didn't put the time in to charge my camera and schedule my life a little bit better, so where I could film this and edit it all together. I just really wanted to put out a podcast to stay on track. And if this podcast isn't the best, I apologize, and I'm going to do my best to make it better. But I really appreciate you guys listening to it and checking it out, and watching my channel and listening to it. So look forward to more this week. You guys are going to be seeing the first taco recipe, the first tea recipe out. You guys are going to see a lot more coming from this channel. So thank you so much. If you guys liked this podcast or any of the previous content that you've checked out from my channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can even DM me if you follow me on Instagram or out here on YouTube, and you want to send me a DM and you want to just give me your quick 2 cents or something I could do better to make the podcast more interesting or the channel more interesting for you guys. Let me know. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from the people that are listening, because I really appreciate it. Awesome. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next podcast.